Good evening. How are we all doing? Kula Yellow, Loraus, and Sapphire, hello. We will be jumping in and continuing our progress on Ajax here, as well as some other miscellaneous things while we wait for Ajax to bake. First thing I want to do is let's take a look at. We were experimenting with this idea this morning of inverse texture. This is like this is a whole new untapped reality here. I'm going to show you what I mean by inverse texture. That's your most used one? Awesome. I didn't don't I get a streamer recap? Let's see. Oh yeah, let's see my recap. Yeah, that's not my recap. Show your recap. Whether you streamed, watched, chatted, or lurked 2024 on Twitch wouldn't have been the same without you. Let's recap, shall we? Let's choose your recap. All right, let's go. Let's recap as a streamer. Should we do this? Could we do this together? Probably. Streamer. Best times of the year. 1,518 hours streamed. I think Clayton said he had right around this number watched for the stream. So I think he's tuned into every single stream. Which is a total of, wow, what the heck? I'm not dying. What are they trying to say here with this image? Total streams, 412. Distinct days streamed, 245. Hey, that's not bad. Total hours watched. Oh, that's how many hours you guys watched me. 209,000 hours. Wait, what? Okay. Top categories. Oh, yeah. Top stream of the year. Your top stream reached 9.4K viewers. I think that was the one that happened while we were in Germany with the with this particular project. We had a sponsored front page segment. I think we reached that number there. Pretty nice. Top tags. Oh, that's interesting. 220,000 chats. Top channel emotes of the year. Looks like CNOT Wave is the winner. Those HD emotes right there. Biggest fan, here we go. Look at that. Clayton Crates, Vekla. Oh, there's some hardcore lurkers on here. Look at this. Okay, all right. Got some pretty hardcore lurkers there. Vekla is one, and little Titan is one. They're definitely not chatters. Yeah, I respect that. Collaborations of the year. Number of collaborations, 2. I did 2, really? Oh, when I was playing around with the system with Timber. I remember that. Oh yeah, we did great collaborations. 660 raids received. Okay. Who raided you? Glad raided me 17 times. Ren Melon 14 times and Reaper Miniature 13 times. Wow. 365 raids sent. Who did I raid? Oh my goodness, I raided Yankee Axe 18 times. Holy cannoli. Miniatures Den and Brush for Hire. All right. That's interesting. Clips of the year. Clips made of you. Only 116 clips. Wow, you guys are fantastic. Unique clippers 32. The Elite 32. High scores of the year. New followers, 8,500 new followers this year. 1,315 new subscribers. Holy cannoli. 26 hype trains. Points spent in your channel. Oh, yeah. But that'll go up once we re-engage the point system. What's going on here with the goat? And the flashing light here? I don't get it. Is there like a secret here? Clippable rating, fine art. Based on all the recap data this year, you were the clippable. Wait a minute. I had a really low number for clips. That's weird. Are they trolling me right now? Clippable rating, fine artist of the year. Oh, wow. Fine art indeed. Chat badge unlocked. Okay, that's a weird hand. This is an AI made this graphic for them. They just went with it and pretended like it was on purpose. Like, make a purple thumbs up. This is what AI gave them. Share your recap. Clippable rating fine artist of the year. Okay. That's interesting. Always interesting. All right. That's enough shenanigans. Let's get to work. All right. So I wanted to show you guys the inverse textures. I think are going to be the next latest and greatest sculpting technology that we've just invented. So here's the textures I made. And then we're going to invert them. So we just push into this. That's the actual texture. Look at that. Let me focus the camera. No, it does stick to it a little bit. So I wonder if when we put wait a minute. There we go. There we go. So it looks just like a mesh, wire mesh. I wonder if we put some sort of if we put the C1 separator on there, if it will release easier. Let's try the small one. Yeah, see, it does stick a little bit too much, but yeah, that looks really good. Looks just like a wire mesh. That's really cool, man. Very useful for mechanics. So these are already baked, yeah. So what we would do is I would...
Lay traveler, to what I say, Twitch Prime does not even cost a dime.
Hey, well, thank you so much, young Maddie, for the 12 months and the kind words. You constantly inspire me to pursue my 3D sculpting and my traditional. Thank you for your stream, CNOT. Well, thank you for tuning in, and thank you for supporting my work. I can't continue without help from you folks, so thank you. It is my pleasure to be here. So what we would do is we would do just this. We would squish a piece of clay on here, you know, peel it off, and then we take probably take a sharp knife and scalpel just a layer of that clay off, you know, and use it in the sculpture. So this blade isn't very sharp, so I can't really demonstrate it, but you get the idea. You know, we just kind of cut the texture out. And then we implement it into the sculpture. We can, you know, we can even distort it. Interesting. Create different effects. Like it's a Spider-Man shoulder there. Or we could we could put the C1 separator, smush a really thin layer on there, bake it, and then peel that off and then stick it on. Or something like that. It would depend if it was... If it's a flat surface, that would work well, but if it's not a flat surface, then probably not. Let's see how this one looks. Ooh, yeah, look at that. That's fantastic. Yeah, good luck making that with hand tooling or using the additive method. That's great. This opens up a whole new world. Inverse textures. Inverted textures. That's really cool, man. Okay, let's test. Let's go ahead and paint this with C1 separator. See if that helps with the clay not sticking when it's in the raw state. Make a sheet of texture, roll it around a doll, and make your own texture rollers. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, we could implement it into any sort of tool, really. We could even you know, take a shape like this and actually cut it into different shapes, like little squares and little triangles, and then you can even make it the exact size you need to kind of put it in the area you need to. Yeah, no, this technically is the mold. We want the inverse of this. I just showed it, but you have to wait for it to dry now before I can show it again. But it essentially, think about it, so each one of these lines is an indentation down. So when we smush clay into it, it makes a three-dimensional shape, like a piece of wire would look like. So this looks like a wire mesh, the inverted texture of this. Whereas if we were to try to achieve that look with additive method, we would have to roll really tiny little string pieces of clay and lay them out very straight and perfect, and it would just be so much more work. This is gonna be game changing. Okay, we'll let that dry. And while that dries, we will continue our quest here. We sculpted this section yesterday. We started to catch up this other one here. Before we get going, let's get a new fresh blade for our knife. Oh, and the test with the C1 separator working for epoxy clay was a success too. Let's see, that's the steel stick that I smushed up against this plastic part. You can even see where the outline is. So I painted C1 separator on there and let it dry, and then I smushed epoxy clay to that, and it popped right off. So those are two new groundbreaking discoveries. Right, yeah, it creates a convex pattern, so it'll look just like a wire mesh grate or something like that, you know, instead of, you know, when the lines go inwards, it doesn't look like a piece of wire mesh. It looks like something that's been carved or something, I don't know. Did I cut that already? I think I did. So the reason I'm not jumping all over the idea of a roller is there's not a lot of circumstances where you can actually use a roller, if you think about it. Like, imagine if I had a roller, right? Like, let's just say this right here was our roller. On this sculpture, for example, there wouldn't be many opportunities for us to use this roller very effectively, you know? Like, to get it like to fit within the space that it needs to. And then also, if you put pressure with the tool to kind of roll a texture into it, it's gonna change the surface of the clay. It's gonna displace the material. So like for example, something like this, it would just move things around too much. I wouldn't want that. So some sort of more of a controlled way of like making the like a slice of texture and then like applying it or something, you know. So, or a tool that you could just push into a very specific small place or something. I don't know. Right, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think that is how rollers are used to for like best effect, is to like make a sheet of clay that you use the roller and roll the texture on that sheet of clay. Thanks, Laros. Certainly puts me in the zone that I need to be in. Using what? Like what? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen that used very effectively. I've always thought about using it for something. Can't even see it. Oh, let's see. Let's put this camera to the test here. Oh, that's maxed out right there. I think I've seen people use this for like mesh, like a superhero suit mesh. Okay, yeah, I can totally see that. Yeah, the hard part is figuring out a way to apply it. Yeah, exactly. To apply it to a form without messing with the volumes. And I think the best way to do it is to produce some sort of thin sheet that you could then kind of But then while you're applying it, you have to be careful not to mess the texture up while you're applying it. You know what I'm saying? While you're squishing it around and moving it. So you usually have to correct or adjust the texture at least a little bit. I guess the point isn't to eliminate all the work. It's just to reduce most of it, you know, and even if you have to do some sections by hand, the majority of it will be done by the stamp, saving you time. Should make it like a goal to produce one sort of texture stamp or inverted texture stamp per project. It's one of those ideas that you can always tell when it's a really good idea when it always keeps coming back to you. It's something that you should really do. Pull up the reference here. Why, thank you, Peter. Peter. Hey, what's up, MJR? Oh, La Sneaker. Am I saying that right? Mr. Clayton. Good evening. Good. All right. Let's bake it, lock it in. Very good. Really happy with the way that back piece came together. Can really feel my abilities with the mechanical things getting stronger. Bake it, lock it, and bop it. That's right. Let's see, are these dry? Yeah, check this out, Clayton. This inverted texture is the game changer. This is the next generation right here. Ready, watch this. So I painted on some C1 separator. Let's see if it helps with it wanting to stick. Let's see here. Hey, look at that. Pretty nice, huh? Three-dimensional. This is just a bust, yeah. Three-dimensional wire mesh texture unlocked. And then here's the big one. And we can make them any size we really want to, technically. And then this one is very surprisingly awesome. Instant waffle, all right. Yep. Pretty cool. Same with this one, we can do different types of circles, different size circles. We could even do circles with like dots in the middle of the circles. Yeah, it's really good. Pretty exciting stuff. So I think to make this texture work effectively, or to make this tool work, we would essentially stamp clay into it, like a large chunk like I just did, and then like fillet it with a knife and you know, cut just the layer of texture off and then apply it to the sculpture. I think that's how that will have to be done. We shall see. We'll definitely be using those on the morning project. All right, let's go get this in the oven here. Now, technically, a firmer clay would work best for that because it'll be less sticky and also more likely to hold its shape when being manipulated. So it's going to be harder to push into the mold, but yeah, so using some firmer variety would probably be the best for that. Probably. Anyways, let's get this in the oven, and while this is cooking, we'll meander and work on other things. And when this comes out, we will probably begin sculpting the pauldron. Yeah. All right, I'll be right back. Oh, nice. Did you get some silicone molding liquid or some silicone molding putty? Because actually before I was able to do this with cast clay, I started experimenting with silicone putty, which I'll show you. Which is nice. It's like a 2-part sculpting compound. You mix it together, and there's a few pitfalls, but it does work. Let me show you. So this is one. This is one for a brick. You can see it, like a stone Here's some more ornate bricks. Silicone. And this was a putty, a silicone putty. The downside to this, and the reason I prefer the Cos clay molds, is that you can bake this, but the problem is the pressure you need to apply to push the clay into the mold. It distorts things because the silicone is so stretchy that by putting the force in there, all these little like details and stuff kind of like fold over, so it becomes difficult to get a good if it's like too elaborate, it's hard to get a good mold. Let's see if we can produce one of these here. Actually, no, I'll just do this one here. Kind of like a shield looking thing. What was that even for? I don't even remember. See if we can get this piece of stone here. I mean, it reads pretty well, doesn't it? That's why I hung on to these. It's still definitely usable. If you're making a large, walkway, instead of sculpting the stones all by hand, you just kind of make some different variations and then duplicate them. Cool. I think this is the most elaborate one I tried doing. It's a carriage wheel. Didn't work out so good. Okay. Let's see here. Let's take these molds, these small skulls, and let's do another run of these tonight. Just the small ones, or smaller ones. That way we'll have plenty to work with tomorrow. That's true. I could just make a bunch of these just to have them on standby in a drawer somewhere. All right, and let's work on the dragon. While we wait for that to bake. I think we just started We just started blending in these blobs of clay into the scale. What I was just thinking about is, imagine we should experiment with this, but we sculpt something like one of these little skulls or some sort of object, and then we fill the mold with colored cosplay, but we fill it in a very particular way that it would look, I don't know, unique or something. You know, like getting in there with like a certain color for certain parts. You know, you could really take that far. Even messing around with translucent clay and creating like some sort of a see-through flesh effect or marbling. Well, ever seen clay artists that make those sculptures that are not painted, but they like essentially sculpt with the color and put the color right where they want it to be? Something like that, but with simply filling the mold that way instead of sculpting that way. You know, where they had like little sliver of black for the eyebrows and Yeah, of course. You can use any kind of polymer clay to sculpt with. Uh, the only reason I prefer cast clay over the others is the flexibility. Well, it's not the only reason, but it's definitely the main reason. The big one. And that's because, you know, when I ship my work, when I eventually get done with the work and I have to ship it somewhere, I'm not having to worry about it falling apart on me or breaking, because, you know, this can really take a big hit. So, you know, and then imagine I wrap it really good on top of that. It's like, I'm not lying when I say since I switched to cast clay totally, I've not had a single issue with like something arriving broken. And it's because they can't break it. Unless the box gets like absolutely destroyed where the box doesn't exist anymore. That'd be the only scenario where maybe something would happen. I don't know. Which is a big relief, not only for normal clients, but when I'm doing these like sponsored works for larger companies, and the last thing you want to do is make something for them that arrives broken. It's like, oh boy, would have been an absolute nervous wreck shipping stuff. Like Nidalee, that was I was worried I was pushing the limits of cast clay on that one, because I kind of rendered like every piece of hair on her like fur collar. But it made it there just fine. No problem. Sculpting hair for weeks, yeah, I was. Very true. Another question. I have made a pendant for my friend. I paint it to make it look like stone. Dry brushing and everything. Should I seal it since it will be touching skin? Yes. Not only that, but it's going to be worn as jewelry. And this is the problem with anything that's jewelry or like keychains or anything like that. It's facing bumping into things, and wear and tear is going to be way high on it. So not only should you seal it, but you should probably seal it multiple times. As far as what sealer to use, I would research that. I would find what other jewelers have used for something that's in contact with skin. Most sealers and stuff are like, once they fully cured and degassed, they're pretty safe to be around, you know. So, but you want to be sure. So better to not take things for granted, I guess. Trust me. So, the wonderful thing about the internet is someone out there somewhere has done the legwork. You just have to find their research somewhere. Usually some sort of a forum post. That's where you find the best information. Something non-toxic, yeah. Or if it is toxic, it only toxic when it's wet and inert when it's dry, kind of thing. But yeah, I would search that up and find what other jewelers are using as a sealer, jewel crafters. I'm sure, like I said, someone out there has already done the legwork. You just gotta go find it. Probably in all of my years learning from the internet, that is always the most beneficial, is when you're just looking for a specific nugget of information like that, and you just go find a forum post or a thread with people discussing it that are like, usually it's these like websites that look like they're from they're from like the 90s, like old school forum format. It's like all the best information's on there. People even give like picture tutorials and everything, you know. Right to the point too, you know. I'm gonna cut through any garbage. And you watch a YouTube video on trying to learn something, you usually gotta skip through a bunch of blah blah just to get the nugget, the information nugget. Yeah, this is the class dragon. We demonstrated how to do these back scales, and so now I'm just catching up on the homework. Finishing up the back here. This piece is available still if anyone's interested in adopting this project. You will have the opportunity to pick the kind of color scheme. If you do end up claiming it for your own, just shoot me an email if you're interested. It's going to be a whimsical young dragon climbing up a big stack of old wizard-looking tomes, books. Yeah. I already responded to you when I got up to put that project in the oven. Just a reminder, I sent you a Discord message there, Clayton. Just so you know. Just a friendly reminder. Right, I gotta blend in these ones on the neck here. Yeah, you know, I get it. Trust me, I get it. There's things in my life where I want to start doing them, but things always get in the way, or I'm just not making time for it. Trust me. We all battle these battles. You just gotta start, you gotta start, get the ball rolling, really. Establishing a new habit, working, I honestly think if you can really dedicate, when you like sign up for a class for something, how much easier it is to do that thing. And it's not because of the class, it's not because of the teacher or the class, it's about this, it's like this setting yourself up with accountability, where you're holding yourself more accountable to be there at that time because you signed up for it and you paid for it. And other people are there that might know you, and like there's all this accountability when you're like participating in a class or something like that. I think that's the real benefit to doing stuff like that is, yes, of course you're learning from the teacher too. That's another benefit, but the main one is you actually are consistently doing it, one night a week or whatever, however the class goes. But so if you don't have something like that going on, you have to create that accountability for yourself, through sheer discipline, which is, all right, listen here, self. I'm gonna sculpt between this time and this time every Sunday, no matter what, even if I don't feel like it in the moment, Because most of the time, the thought of doing something, you're like, no, I don't really want to do that right now. I'll just push off till next week. But if you get past that initial hump of like thinking about doing it and not wanting to do it, you get into it and you're like, oh wow, why was I so, you enjoy it and you're like, why was I so resilient to starting? It's just this weird thing. This idea of starting, of doing effort and doing things is so much more, I don't know. Going to the gym is harder than working out. Yeah, right, exactly. It's the going part, it's the starting part. That hump. The committing to a time, And I think the key is to start small with your commitment, and practice making a commitment and following through with it with yourself, and that will grow that ability to tell yourself what to do, that discipline, because that's all discipline is just telling yourself to do something that you don't want to do and you actually doing it. So instead of being like, I'm the boss of me, get out of here, punk, I'm watching TV. Excuse me, sir, this is the time where we're supposed to be sculpting here? Get out of here. Leave me alone. Next week. No, that side of yourself that has to be the disciplined side can't be the little excuse me, sir guy. It has to be the like drill sergeant, like angry father figure version of yourself. Like, you're doing this right now. I don't care what you say or what you're doing. Get your butt in there. But yeah, it's a battle. Every single human being deals with it. That's just my experience. See, I sit here and I sculpt, and I don't have to do that. I have accountability, which is I have a stream schedule. I'm supposed to be here sculpting at such and such time, at such and such days, and I just show up, That part, the hardest part is done for me. Thanks to you guys, really. It's just like going to your job, Isn't that interesting? Most people will do this. They'll do this. They have this side of themselves they could tap into. Because most people go to work, and most of the time you go to work and you don't even want to go to work, you know? But you do it anyways because of the accountability. But if you could just use that same energy. I think the fear people have is that it'll become unfun if you treat it that way, but that's just not the case. Because the real fun with something like this is like it's like an aged wine or something, you know? It's like the more you do it, the more fun it gets. So it's not like a little short burst of fun that's, you know, there real quick and then gone. It really is a long-lasting type of fun. So I encourage you, my friend, to make a commitment. Schedule it in. So have some aged wine before work. Got it. And once you do this, once you go through this process with anything, then you unlock that ability to do stuff that you don't want to do, but you know will benefit you in the end. You can really apply it to a lot of aspects of your life, not just doing sculpture. One of the keys to the kingdom, for sure. I think the real secret deal breaker is that it won't be fun anymore when I try and see myself failing. Fear of failure, huh? Well, guess what, my friend? That is the first step to success. You have to lower your expectations and be patient with yourself. Meet yourself where you're at. Don't be unrealistic. Would you treat a stranger that way? If they would sit down and try their best and sculpt something for the first time, and you would go up to the stranger and look at them and be like, "Wow, what a failure." Ha, you're bad at this. No, you wouldn't. So you shouldn't treat yourself that way, right? You would probably say, "Oh, that's actually really good. That's your first piece," so on and so forth. Look for the positive things in your work. Recognize the negative things. Recognize the things that you probably could have done better and how you would do them again next time. But that's it. Once you've recognized it and absorbed that information, move on, you know. Yeah, it's that way with a lot of things, Sarah, you know. We don't treat ourselves like we would treat others, which is not okay because we're a person too. I do genuinely believe that if you do follow along with one of my classes, I intentionally pick projects that I know you guys of all skill levels can get an early win on. That if you try your best and follow along, you can produce a result that is something you can be happy with. Something you can be proud of. It will not be your best piece ever. It will not be the masterpiece, but it'll be something you can be happy about. An early win is what you need to keep moving forward, because the realistically the ultimate win is for you to keep going. And I experienced it through my whole art career that after every single project I finished, especially early on, you just grow. You can like see and feel the growth between projects, which is awesome. So the only way you lose is if you stop, and a lot of people stop because of what you just mentioned there. You know, I'm only here to make masterpieces. Don't strive for perfection. Strive for what I call good enough. You know, so. But your definition of what is good enough and acceptable will change over time. So, what's good enough for you today, you'll look back on it, even a couple months from now, if you're working on your sculptures. What's acceptable for you today will not be acceptable for you a couple months from now, because you're slowly growing that definition of what's good enough. Everything's a masterpiece if you lower your standards, yeah, right? So, put it this way, let's say you have two people that are brand new to sculpture, totally even on all fronts, translatable skills and everything. But you have one student, you have them sculpt something and redo things over and over again on that piece until they reach their idea of perfection. And then you have the other student do it my way, where you make the projects good enough and then you start a new one. I bet you that student will grow much faster, going through the motions of finishing a piece and then applying what they learned to the next project, and it creates like a little snowball effect of skill, so whereas the one person that finally got that one perfect piece has way less experience. What time do we put that Ajax in the oven? Can probably go grab them out soon here. Maybe 10 more minutes. Okay. you go. That's the reality, man. We forget these things. We have to constantly remind ourselves of these things and really take action and put them into practice. How easily we forget. Oh yeah, that seems to be a battle for you. I've never had an issue striving for perfection. That's not been my problem. Don't worry, Sarah. When I eventually get around to coming to visit you, I will plant a bunch of invasive bamboo in your yard to help break you of this curse of perfection. Let you embrace the chaos, the rampant growth of 6 diameter bamboos coming up through the middle of your pathway. Be an infestation. Just I'll get in touch with one of your neighbors and send them some seed bombs with a bunch of invasive species, and as they're riding their bike past past your house, they just throw it over the fence like that, like once a week. As many invasive, rampant growth species as possible. Little seed bombs. They call it guerrilla gardening. I love learning about stuff like that. It's an actual thing, guerrilla gardening. You take a little ball of dirt and you load it up with like wildflower seeds and stuff like that. And when you see those like empty lots that's not being used for anything, that's just overgrown. As you're driving by with your car, you just grab one of those and you just whip it out the window into one of those lots and watch the empty barren lot turn into a lush wildflower forest. That'll teach him. Yeah, right. Batten down the hatches. Sir, there's been a threat on the garden. Sarah doesn't take garden threats lightly. Invasive species threats. I really want to grow bamboo. Maybe this year I will try. And I always find myself buying like garden stakes and random things for building stuff in the garden. I just think having bamboo, I wouldn't have to buy that stuff. I could just grow my own garden stakes and stuff. Just has to be. There's different varieties of bamboo. There's two varieties. One that's grows in like patches or clusters. That one doesn't really spread. Just kind of stays in a group and spreads out slowly. The other kind, which is more common, is one bamboo shoot grows up. I'll say it's a 50-foot variety, so it grows really high. It sends under the ground little runners, which are like little roots, 50 feet in all directions, and then up pops more bamboo. So like it spreads like if you ever played StarCraft 2, like the way creep spreads on the Zerg side, it's exactly like that. Except every one bamboo is sending out runners in all directions, so I can easily take over a neighborhood. So the way you prevent that is you cut down into the dirt and create like a barrier or a wall around your bamboo area. Black bamboo, yeah, and that's the kind they make flutes and stuff with, the black variety. That's the kind that grows in like little clusters too, so you don't have to worry about it spreading around. Bamboo used to be very here in America, it actually used to be a very common thing to have these big areas of bamboo, but the habitat got destroyed from commercial farming, turned into farmland. And there used to be a parakeet that lived here. It was a really beautiful bird. I think it was a parakeet. Can't remember. It's like it had rainbow like colors. Really, really beautiful looking bird that lived in the bamboo. but it's gone. It's gone now. Commercial farming. Okay, I can go get that piece out of the oven here. Let me go get that piece out of the oven. And we can let it cool down. I'll keep texturing these scales while it's cooling. Just spreading out this separator here. Oh. All right, I'll be right back. All right. Let that cool down. Keep working on some of this dragon texture. Yeah, I can move the focus. So I was able to move the focus faster on the other one, and the frame, the window and where it is in focus is smaller on this one. See what I mean? This out of focus, in focus, out of focus again. See? So it's just more. It's more sensitive, I guess you could say. So. Yeah, I don't use the autofocus, and I didn't on the other camera either. I just manually controlled it. Very crisp when it is in focus. Yeah. Yeah, it just takes some getting used to for me. A little more. Have to be more attentive to that. It was the same way with the last camera too. It's like a phase where I have to be more attentive to it until it becomes a background process. I don't even have to think about it anymore. It just happens automatically. Also, when we get our stationary camera set up, that's going to help a lot. I have the desk cam in. I just have to order a lens for it, and then we're gonna have a nice new desk camera set up. Clay conditioning services. How much are you willing to pay for your clay to be conditioned there, Clayton? How much for a full pound of clay conditioned up? Oh, okay. This might not work on paper here. So those little bits of clay, those little clay boogers, we're gonna brush with alcohol after we're done doing this line work, kind of with the flow of the lines, and it's gonna cut down the harshness of the lines and also remove those clay boogers. That's Clayton, when you order the clay, you have to, in the special delivery instructions, you gotta write the cnotbusch premium, you know, you have to write, gotta tell them to give you the cnotbusch premium clay. The premium stash. Kingdom Dweller. How's this feeling? We could probably switch to that here in a second. Let me show you what that's gonna look like. We'll do the alcohol step here. Take our brush, a little isopropyl alcohol. Nice and clean. Okay, now. All right, let's see here. So we're gonna start doing the pauldrons. We want to work very symmetrical here because the pauldron's the same on the front and on the back, which means we can duplicate it and flip it over onto the other side. If we do a good job, that is. So let's take a look here. Get a good idea of the shape. Let's see here. I wonder if we should use a wooden ball here as the base shape. Yes. Let's just do some more tin foil. giving ourselves a much cleaner shape here. The nicer our starter shape is, the easier the rest will come. Oop. Just wondering if we should hot glue gun that, probably. Probably, or just some clay smooshed in there would do the trick. This part. Just put a dot of super glue there. Or just some more clay. Let's see. All right. Add some clay glue here.
And we need more clay. Enough.
Mr. Kamaus, how are you, my friend? Oh, I'm doing great. Can't speak for the chat, but I can say I'm doing great myself. Now, we'll be using so demanding. How cruel of him. Hey, welcome. Zol. Doing alright, man. Just beginning the pauldron on this guy here. This is a bust of the character Ajax from the first Descendant. We were commissioned by Nexon Games to bring him to life in the clay. We're shaping the pauldron now. Getting a nice, clean starting shape. better job we do at that, the easier the whole thing goes, really. Just want to make sure it's as symmetrical as we can get it. It's getting pretty close.
getting very close. Guy does not skip Pauldron Day.
Well, you'll see. It's a lot bigger than it will actually be once we trim the shape.
Okay. Gander at the reference before we commit here.
Hey Jedi, how you doing?
That's about right. Okay.
Greetings, fellow adventurer. We've got everything you need to rest and refuel.
Hey, Saradini, thank you so much for the 9 months of support. Good evening. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for sticking with me. Bezors. Oops. Oops. Wisdom is not gained by avoiding mistakes, but by learning from them. Ooh. We were just talking about that earlier, weren't we? Wisdom is not gained from avoiding mistakes, but from learning from them. Very good. I appreciate it, Saradini. Hey, how you doing there, Funka? Okay. Okay, now let us mark a center line and let us use calipers to measure here. So eyeball the perfect center line. Let's grab our calipers. Do this measurement first.
measure. Pretty good. All right, we have our foundation. So all this gets cut out and removed. But not till the end. All right, let's let that marinate, shall we? Overnight. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining me this evening. You all have been a wonderful audience. Very quiet, you just let me work all night. It's great. I'll be back on tomorrow. There's no evening stream on Wednesdays, so if you guys are evening crowd only, we'll see you we'll see you on Thursday. There will be a longer stream tomorrow morning, so to make up for that. And yeah, we may work on this during the second part of the morning stream, or we might just kind of hit the pedal to the metal on the morning piece and then hit this on Thursday. Then it'll be really marinated. But let's see here. But yeah, thank you everybody. Thanks for the support. Thanks for tuning in, and let's get a raid going here. Horology. Oh, hey, Brock's on. Let's go raid Brock. He is a airbrush artist. Very cool guy. I highly recommend you go say hey. There we go. Till next time, my friends. Bye-bye.